Hey, it's Jared White, the J-Man63. Hello, YouTubers, diecast collectors. This is going to be a new segment in my video series. I've been watching a few people review diecast, and I'm going to start reviewing some of my 1/18 scale stuff. So today is going to be an old and a new review of cars. This, of course, being the new Ford GT, and of course this is going to be the new one, and this is the old Ford GT40. So why don't we get started on the old one first, and this one is done by Shelby Collectibles. This is a pretty nice piece. I really like this car, and I know a lot of people, when they want a Ford GT40, really the only option is to buy the Exoto version, which, as you know, is like $500 or $600. Really expensive piece to get, but this one I really like because it's $40, and it's kind of a good budget car. If you're going to collect any of the Ford GTs or Ford GT40s, I'd recommend, either one of these that I have in this video, but I'm going to show the old one first. So you have some pretty nice graphics. A little number 1 here with some nice dirt detailing. You also have some painted pieces. You got, this is kind of painted silver. Of course, this right here is silver, and a lot of really nice stuff. The door handle, I think that's actually chrome, and that's pretty nice that they made that chrome. So, like I said, they've also got it's a single windshield wiper. I mean, it seems pretty sturdy. I haven't had any problems with it. Nice headlights up here. There's no pegs on these headlights, and that's pretty nice, because my friend JMC Porsche pointed out the whole headlight peg thing, and I kind of understand how that can be kind of annoying having those on there. So these are pretty nice headlights on here as far as most of these budget cars go. In front here you kind of have like a mesh grill. I don't know if it's actual mesh, but I think that's the radiator actually, and then the front end's hollow. So it's pretty nice that they put the radiator in. And these holes right here, they included those. Again, headlights, you really can't see them because of the dirt, because this is made to look like it's been raced. So yeah, pretty nice. Very nice wheels. Really like the Goodyear tires on this. They roll pretty well. They don't really have a whole lot of, they have a lot of resistance in them, but they roll pretty good. So yeah, pretty nice detailing. No, the back ones roll a little bit better than the fronts. So yeah, pretty nice. Back end, there's a lot of there's kind of a lot going on back here. You can see the exhaust and stuff, and the rear jack stands for the car. So it's pretty cool. And really nice tail lights. Again, there's really no pegs on these that I can see that are visible. And you've kind of got some mesh back here. It's really more of a clear plastic piece, and they kind of did some honeycombing, but still pretty nice. Again, like I said, pretty nice back end. Really like the way they did all this. Alright, so I'm going to get on to details here. The front end has a really nice spare tire in it. You really can't see it too well from this angle, but I like how they did the front end, because they've got this one hinge panel, and then when you open it the opposite way, it also hinges on this part. But one thing, you kind of got to be careful when you're opening it, because there's some plastic that it kind of catches on. That's my only real complaint with that. Kind of wish they would have either trimmed the plastic down or something. But anyway, yeah, you can see there's a nice spare tire, and they actually bothered to put some clips in there and paint them silver, and that's actually made out of real rubber. That is not a fake tire. So that's pretty nice that they did that. And they've also painted some bits down here. They've also got that painted. that painted and that done. And then underneath here they've got some shielding, which is pretty nice. I like the way they've done that. I really love when they bother to put in a lot of detailing in there. So yeah, all in all, pretty nice trunk. And like I said, it's got a double hinge. And like I said, you gotta be careful when you close it because it catches on some plastic. But other than that, it's pretty nice. And of course, they've also painted these hood pins silver, which is another nice touch here. And they've got the inlets and everything. Alright, so I'll move on to the interior. It's a pretty nice interior in there, as you can see. Pretty well done. There's actually, if I get closer, there's some seat belts in there that you can see. Oh, full focus. Yeah, see, there's seat belts in there, which you can kind of see. There is some there are painted gauges in here. They didn't really do any of the center stack, but they still did this pretty nice, I will say. There is a roll bar. So yeah, pretty nice interior. All in all, the mirror is completely chrome, and that's a pretty nice touch. So like I said, and the door panel is relatively plain. There's really not a whole lot going on. It's just a black door panel, which I'm not sure how that would have been done, but still pretty nice. So like I said, if I move on to the other side here, like I said, pretty nice. The steering wheel, and it actually does turn the wheels. Pretty nice. My one complaint when I got this car is when I had the steering, one of the pivots on the steering joints was kind of off, and I had to kind of get it back in the socket, and because one of the wheels was kind of bowed out a little bit. I think it was this one. And I had to get the steering back in its place, and that was kind of hard, but luckily I did it without messing anything up. So that's my one complaint I have with this. I mean, if you order one of these off of, or if you get one of these at Toys R Us, hopefully yours won't have that problem, but still, it's not too bad. And of course, as you'll know, there's lots of intakes on this, quite a few. So yeah, it's a very racy looking car. I really like also how they've done these little silver rivets, or whatever these are, around the window. These things that hold the window on. I really like how they did all these. That's pretty nice. So like I said, anyway, I'm going to move on to my favorite part of this car, which is the engine. And it kind of holds itself down pretty well. Really don't need a hinge pin, but you kind of want to be careful when you're holding it. Before I get on to that, I want to say I like how they did this plastic panel back here that kind of shields the air filter. That's pretty nice. So anyway, like I said, I'll open that. Pretty nice engine. May not be Exoto level detailing, but it's, for what it is, that's pretty decent. You can kind of see that there's a bunch of little pieces right here with some wiring that they've done. Again, you can see the air cleaner and the individual carbs. That's pretty nice. And they've also done all the exhaust pipes. And it pretty much all looks like it's meant to be there. You've also got, you know, this stuff right here with the gold and the piping. So they have done quite a bit on this engine. And for detailing on this engine, I have no complaints at all. Very nicely done. Move on to the other side here. Like I said, they have done quite a good deal of detailing on this engine. It is very nice. All in all, I'd give this car, well, engine-wise, 10 out of 10. I mean, everything's there. You've kind of got your little, this gray thing right here with the, looks like a radiator or something like that. I'm not sure what it is, but they've really done a good deal of work on this. So, all in all, if you know, all the exhaust is there. So, pretty good detailing on the engine. So yeah, like I said, very nice car. I'll move on to the underside now. Underside, Not much to speak of. I mean, you do see the engine right here, and that dirt theme kind of continues on the bottom. I do like how they've done that. So, I mean, you can see the engine right here. There's an air filter. I think that's part of this, but I'm not sure. Transmission back here, because it was a transaxle. So, like I said, there's really not a whole lot. It's more flat for the aerodynamics, I guess. And for back in the day, that's pretty cool that they did that, because I don't know how much, I guess aerodynamics were more important on these race cars as it is to these supercars nowadays. So pretty cool that they've done some work on the bottom. So yeah, if you want to pick this model up, check out your Toys R Us. I would highly recommend this piece to anyone who's a fan of vintage racing, who does not want to, you know, pick up the Exoto piece, because, you know, Exoto is more expensive, or IXO, or whatever they are. But like I said, if you want this in your collection, I'd recommend it, like I said. And I will say the wheels on this are pretty nice too, like the knockoffs. I think that's a cool touch. I love the old knockoff wheels, they're pretty cool. And like I said, everything about this car, I'll probably give this car a 10 out of 10. I mean, I'm a little more picky about what I buy, so I'm always making sure I'm buying the nicer stuff. So anything I buy, pretty much, I usually like it, and I know what I'm getting. So this is pretty nice. For 40 bucks, I don't think you could go wrong with this piece. Pretty good. Alright, so now I'm going to move on to the new one. This one, the old one is by Shelby Collectibles. This is the Hot Wheels Ford GT, not the Ford GT40 like that one was. This is the Ford GT. This one right here is a pretty nice model. One thing I will point out is the scale, and you can kind of tell that the new one is a bit shorter. The new one's a bit shorter. You can't really see it, but you can kind of factor this in. It is kind of shorter in one bit, and it's a little less tall like the car is in person, but yeah, it's still pretty accurate, I would say. I think this is a little larger, but I'm not sure. But scale is one thing I will point out. This one's larger than the old one. I'm not sure if that was the whole case. If you put the real one and the old one side by side, I'm not sure how these would stack up. But anyway, so like I said, the new one, it's a pretty nice model. You know, I don't know how much these are going for on eBay, but if you're going to pick one of these up, $30 to $40, I'd say it would still be kind of a budget car, but pretty nice. This one actually is pretty cool. Very nice color scheme, white with the blue. This is the concept model that they came out with. I'm not sure if they ever did the model that wasn't the concept, but this is the concept edition, I guess. Very nice stripes. Ford logo. It's pretty nice and readable if you look at it. Very nice headlights. Again, with this one, there's not really any peg in the headlights, so you can really make out all the nice detailing that they've put into this. And the edge seems pretty well done. Pretty good. Like I said, very nice. And in the front here, you can kind of make out that they did they kind of tried to do a mesh pattern in here, but this was a clear piece with the gray painted over it. You can also see the headlights here. There's really no peg in this, and this is kind of hollow, so you can kind of go through this. Again, this one, like I said, these headlights are nice on this car. So, like I said, this actually does feature suspension. See that right there? Their wheels actually do have suspension on this. And one cool part about the suspension is if you look underneath here, they kind of did the control arms, and you know, they've got a few nice pieces in here to kind of accentuate the suspension. So that's pretty nice that they've done that. You don't really see that in too many of these budget cars. So yeah, pretty nice piece. The front does not open. I don't really care too much. I mean, I know on nicer, like auto art versions of this, the whole front end would open, but I'm not really too bummed about that. It's still pretty nice, even though that doesn't open. It's a cool car. I mean, the doors, they actually do open. When you're opening them, you kind of want to be careful because this door skin is fragile. My one complaint is this window right here is not exactly glued in. It is kind of loose and free to do whatever it wants, but if you're not messing with the door a whole lot. My other complaint about this car is the doors. They are kind of loose and they kind of want to do whatever they want because they're kind of on like some kind of hinge. They're not on a beam hinge, but they're on this different kind of hinging system that Hot Wheels usually does with their cars. It's not too bad, but I still kind of wish they had done it a little bit better. Door panels, they are painted silver with the 3 little buttons right here, or whatever those are. And the interior is pretty nice as far as the car not being really expensive. You can kind of see there's gauges there. There's the steering wheel is done. It's painted, and it's done pretty well. There are seat belts, interestingly enough, in this car. You can kind of see that. I don't know why they did that. I kind of wish they had just clipped the harness together like most of the traditional cars are done. They've kind of got the belts going all over the place, and it's not really connected to the seat. I do kind of like how they did that, I guess, but I still kind of wish the belts were glued together. I don't know. You can kind of make out that there's a little extinguisher bottle in the interior here. There's a little chrome one. But like I said, they've done this pretty well. I mean, I'll say as far as most of these interiors go. Mirrors are pretty nice. There were no mirrors on the other Ford GT, nor did the Shelby Collectibles version have suspension. So I guess it's one plus of this car. It actually has suspension. I didn't mention that on the old one. But I'm sure you know that because Shelby Collectibles doesn't usually put suspension on their cars anyway, so. And I was looking up that Ford GT40 by Shelby. That's actually not a previous tooling. I think that's pretty much Shelby's own tooling, so it's pretty nice if you want to get the old one or this new one. Another nice feature, they've actually put floor mats on the interior. They've done that. There's no carpeting. I don't think the real one, I'm not sure if it really has any carpeting, but the mats are textured in there, so that gives that a nice touch. A dash is pretty well done. There are some buttons on there. You can kind of see the shifter, so they have done this interior pretty well. There's another fire extinguisher right there, that little chrome one right there behind the seat. So like I said, very nice. Decals on this car, they're pretty good. I don't think you have to worry about those coming off. I think they're Tampo printed, so they're pretty nice. The brake discs, these actually spin with the wheels. You can kind of see that. They spin with the wheels, and the caliper stays in place, which everyone likes that on their cars. I'm not sure about you, but I like having the discs properly done because it looks better, just looks nicer. And like I said, I don't know if I mentioned it, but like I said, working suspension. Pretty nice. Now I'm going to move on to the engine here. A lot of people don't know this, but the Ford GT, the new Ford GT, sorry, I'm getting mixed up, almost said 40. The new Ford GT was actually powered by Ford's SVT Lightning motor that came out of their truck. I know a lot of people don't know that. Pretty much supercharged and everything, so if you have an SVT Lightning, you pretty much have the same engine that came in the Ford GT. I guess that's interesting to know. Like I said, if you look right here, when the suspension does its thing, it's kind of got all these little pieces that kind of move, so I think that's very intricately done. The engine bay is very nice. I mean, you can see all the exhaust piping, you can see all that chrome stuff. I mean, you can see that it's really a lot to look at, which I really like that. Maybe it's not 100% accurate, maybe there's some pieces they didn't paint, but I mean, hey, they did a pretty good job with this engine bay, I will say that. And mostly on times, Hot Wheels, you know, some of their budget cars or their less expensive models, you know, don't usually feature this nice of an engine bay. But I know this was kind of when 100% Hot Wheels were around, and they kind of put more into their cars back then than they do now. So if you're looking for the Ford GT model, this is one I'd recommend. I know Motor Max does one, but this is a whole lot nicer. Like I said, if you want this car, get the Hot Wheels version. It's way better. You won't be disappointed. And like I said, they've actually painted the mufflers here in the back. They've painted this bit right here, which that's pretty nice. They painted that. And they bothered to do all the detailing. It's pretty good. Like I said, very nice. And a good car to get if you're looking for a Ford GT or a very good vehicle. Just gonna say. So like I said, all the stuff is there. Okay, so like I said, and also in the air inlets, they've also done that mesh type, those mesh honeycombs in there. It's very nice. It's very well done. It's just a good piece all around. No complaints really, except for that loose door skin. Goodyear Eagle tires. Again, very nicely done. Very nice rims too. The underside of this car, there's really not a whole lot to speak of. It pretty much is identical to, see how the door's opening? Kind of doesn't really want to stay shut. The one on the passenger side in particular really doesn't like to stay closed. Again, like I said, I told you about the suspension. It's pretty good up here. Like I said, in back here you've kind of got all these little struts and stuff and control arms that make it look more real. Up in here you've kind of got this belt that they've done. One good thing is they actually painted the pulleys in there, and the belt is black. So they've really done a good deal of work on this whole thing. Like I said, the underside's pretty nice. Back into this car, again, pretty nice. I didn't mention the back before, but again, they've got this little honeycomb thing so you can see through to the engine. And like I said, taillights and nicely sized exhausts. You can tell that they're there. No peg on the taillights that I can see. I see the silver painted part. I'm not sure if that's a peg or not, but still pretty good. Like I said, racing stripes, blue. It's a good color combo. I like the red one, but I think the blue one and white one is nice too. And like I said, they've done everything. If you'll notice, they've actually got the air intake kind of going through to the engine. You can kind of see it right there, but they've kind of got the air intake hollowed out, which is pretty nice. I like to see that. So it looks pretty complete, you know. Looks like a more expensive model. It's pretty nice. So what are my thoughts on these cars? Well, I'd say I give this one, I'd give it a 9.5 out of 10 for my budget cars. I'd say this one I would give a 10 out of 10, despite the one, maybe a 9.5, the old one. But like I said, if you're looking to pick up a Ford GT or a GT40, the Shelby Collectibles one for the Ford GT40 is the one to get, which is pretty nice. And if you want the new one, I recommend the Hot Wheels version, just because I really like it. So, this will be a new segment on my channel. I will be reviewing some of my diecast cars, since I have a lot of them. And so, for the best diecast haul videos, and now diecast reviews, it has to be the J-Man63. Check out my channel, rate, comment, subscribe, and have a good one. Keep on collecting. Have a good one, guys. Goodbye.